Hey everyone, this is Robert, and thank you for tuning in to Station Square. Hope everybody is doing well and, staying cool from the heat and whatnot. Today we're going to be chatting with somebody who's been in Genshin. They've done video games, anime. Their resume really speaks for themselves. It really speaks for itself. So we have Daisy in the corner, and I'm not gonna try to pronounce the last name because I am terrible with that.
Same. Hi, everyone. My name is Daisy Guevara. And thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you reaching out and asking me to be here. So, yeah,
Anytime.
yeah.
Yeah. So I know that you've been working on a bunch of stuff, over the last few years. I mean, I know that it's true that after, COVID and with the pandemic and everything, everything's just kind of been like, it's been getting a lot e busier. I don't want to say easier. It's been a journey to say the least.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just quickly go over like everything that you've been up to over these last few years. Like,
Mm.
how would you say? Because yeah, I can't believe we're kind of like in the second half of 2023 already.
I
So I kind of
know.
yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about like how would you say the first half of this year has been for you? If we were to do like a quick little retrospective, how this
Oh.
year has been like and how these last few years have, how you've kind of survived over the course of, this whole
Survive is the
ordeal.
key word.
Yes. How have you been surviving?
um, this first half of the year has been a little crazy for me. Um, because I'm at a stage where um I need an agent, right? And
Oh yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
I wanted to see, I know I'm ready for one that, like, whatever, but like, I've been trying to prep myself and trying to uh, sort of get into other sections of voiceover that I'm interested in before I sort of reach out to agents. I don't know about you, but like I'm a prepper and I want to be like 100% sure, like, okay, this is
Oh
who I
no, I'm
am,
I'm
this
the
is what
same
I have.
way. That is me
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
right? And okay, so I was crazy, and so the in January I started this 6-month narration mentorship program. It's with Penguin Random House. Um, for 6 months, I've been prepping, getting to know the audiobook narration world and really hone in on like the different types of audiobooks out there and, you know, how to get better in narration and record samples and like how do you show yourself to be more presentable in that sphere. So while I was doing that, I was also learning commercial work because I'm like crazy like that. And then at the same time, somehow manage my career. um, and to me, that was just insane. And luckily, like things are calming down, right? Um, and like I get to, breathe and take it easy and yeah, I'm like slowly inching to like getting to the place where I want to be before I like reach out um to agents and stuff. And I already recorded my commercial demo, so that's cool. But yeah, so that's my first half of the year was a little all over the place, a little stressful. I did get to travel though. I went to Spain, I went to Edinburgh, Scotland, and then to London for a
Nice.
week and a half.
Uh,
And that was nice. In between all that chaos, I needed that too. So,
I mean,
yeah.
we all could use it. We really all could. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How has it been for you, Robert?
Um, about the
Life.
same. It's kind of
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
life just it's life.
I mean, life I like that. Life is life. For real.
Yeah, it really do be like that.
It really do.
Man.
Right.
And since it's, I'm still in the process of like, because I literally just got up like an hour or so ago. So I'm like, my
Ah,
brain is
okay.
still kind of fried. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to think of like, man, how has 2023 been for me so far?
Yeah. But
Um,
but I feel like the year
Yeah.
has gone by so fast already
Right?
that it's kind of hard to process
Yeah, it's
what
kind of
just
like
happened.
yeah, it's kind of hard to like pinpoint like the highlights of the year. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like June is over and we're already in July. I'm like,
July. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
summer's like halfway already.
I
Like
know.
that's
Yeah.
insane. I
Yeah.
feel ya.
What have I done? Just mainly a lot of auditions, and I've recorded for a couple of stuff that I can't really talk about,
Hey, good
and
for
that's the
you.
magic. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you know that you're doing it. Like
Exactly.
you're excited to, talk about something that you can't even disclose any details of at the moment.
Yeah.
That's the life of an actor.
Of the voice actor. Yep.
Yeah.
That NDA
Um,
life.
yeah, that NDA
Yeah.
life. But on top of that, I've kind of been picking up improv again,
Oh, good for
started going to
you.
conventions. Yeah, like improv is definitely like, I've always had a passion for it, so I'm like, hey, you know what? Might as well just start, doing this more consistently. So
Heck
that's what
yeah.
I've been doing.
That's
Like, that's
awesome.
super important. Like, this is kind of like my advice for anybody wanting to get into this. Like, improv is definitely highly important. Like, it helps you, think outside because as somebody who is too in their head when it comes to recording an audition or like if you're
Mm,
playing a character, like it can really help you like, you know, be imaginative and think of choices that are not really in the I guess in the story, but
sure.
like that's part of the fun. We make stuff up,
Right.
play pretend, and building our sandcastles and just be imaginative.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing
And
as
it even
actors.
helps you
We make
in the
believe and play
session
pretend.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you're just given things where they go, "Okay, can you do this walla of a girl
Yeah.
running through the streets and she's late for work and then go."
Okay. Yeah.
And you sort of
It's
have to
pretty
just
much it.
make up things on the spot, and yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
For sure.
And
Well,
it's
good for
best
you.
if
That's
they
awesome.
actually and the better part and the best part, they end up using that take. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Sometimes the happy accidents, get picked
yeah.
and it's
Or
like,
it could be the first take that you end up doing that
right.
is just that magical, that has that little extra something something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah, and also I've been doing like I just started doing conventions again.
Did you go to
Um,
Anime Expo?
I was in Las Vegas, so I couldn't go.
Oh, okay.
And plus, I went to a convention like in June, and I kind of spent most of my money towards that. And I also just kind of really want to get away, just, for a little bit
From yeah, for sure.
from L. I mean, I love LA, but I just needed to refresh, you know.
That's understandable. I
Yeah,
want to move to
like,
LA one day.
oh, um, I mean, I know that you mentioned before that you're a prepper, so I would say definitely good luck because it is. I mean, not that LA is a terrible place to be in. I'm not saying that, but
Yeah,
it is exceedingly difficult. Like,
I bet.
especially if you're if you want to work for like say Bang Zoom or Warner
Mm,
Brothers, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney, the big dogs.
yeah.
Um, I mean, it's not so much like I don't want to say that it's really competitive, but it's
Oh,
like
it is.
it's it really is. Like I know
Yeah,
that LA and Texas are like in particular just
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean that's why it's really good to have like, a really strong, I guess, a group of friends and colleagues. Like having a good
Mm,
support system can really go a long way. And also
yeah.
patience and perseverance because we still have to learn and apply it every day, like daily, like
Right.
patience. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't go to AX. May go next year. No
Oof.
promises. I'm
Yeah.
sorry? Yeah, I
Nah.
keep saying maybe, but it's like, oh man, it's like something will come up. I may go out of town or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. So you never know what
Mhm.
it holds, really.
Mhm.
Nobody knows. I mean, like, if these last 3 years have taught us anything, it's don't take it for granted,
Grant.
like life for granted.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I haven't even asked you any questions.
I'm always like this. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, how are you doing?
I'm like,
Yeah."
oh
I
yeah,
always,
like
like, side
let's
tangent.
yeah. I mean, I would normally get into like, so how did you get into blah 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 blah, but
Yeah.
at least with you, you got your start in the theater. You
In
got
the
your start
theater.
in New
Yes.
York, in the New York
New
City.
York.
Yeah, you gotta get your start in Brooklyn. You got your start in the New York City time, baby. But why did I kind of sound like Harvey Bernstein? I don't know why. Actually, oh
Oh,
man.
man.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah. So you got your start in theater in New York,
Yeah.
and you just kind of like me. You love stories, so um, I know that you've always wanted to be an actress, like being an actor, but
Mhm.
for VO, what did that like, was that also kind of something that was in your heart since you were a kid, or were you
Mm.
just kind of like, okay, so I've been doing this acting thing for a while, but then voiceover just kind of came later in your
Mm,
life?
mm,
Like,
mm.
how would you describe like your, if we were to go back to like, your creative
Back to
roots
the
and your
beginning.
back to the back into the past? Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah,
what's your
so
story?
I was a theater baby, so I grew up in theater. And while I was still a kid, I love telling this story about Tara Strong and how the first time I
Oh,
saw her
yes.
was in Sabrina the Teenage Witch movie. And I think they go to
Really?
London or they go to Australia. I don't know where they go, but Tara Strong had a particular accent to her. And so I was like, oh, cool. So then the dawn of cartoons in like the early 2000s came, and like
Oh,
we had like
yes.
fantastic shows. And for some reason during that time when the internet was starting to be its thing, um I was really interested in to know who the cast was.
Yeah.
And this one name kept popping up, Tara Strong, Tara Strong, and I was like, okay, who is this person? So I
Yeah,
clicked
who
on
is
her
that?
website, and I saw her picture, and I was like, oh my god, this is that chick from Sabrina the Teenage Witch movie. And so I was like, oh, this is something that I could be doing, and it's called voice acting. So that has been in the back of my mind as a kid growing up. Um, and then it wasn't until like my college days where I think Bang Zoom Entertainment had like their workshop that they occasionally went to back and forth between New York and LA. And when Tony Oliver stopped by to New York for Bang Zoom, was like my first introduction class. That's where I met like, Melly Grant and Matt Shipman and Brittany Lotta. Like that's where it all started basically. And so eventually during my theater days in college and then after college, I had a point where like things were starting to conflict between theater and voice acting. And then I wasn't happy with the theater scene at that particular time. And so I was like, okay, let me push this to the side and then let me focus on voice acting. And so that's where that's where I began, and well, here I am today. So
Congrats, congrats.
thanks.
Yeah. Melly Grant, I actually just had them on the podcast not too
Oh,
long
did
ago.
you?
Oh yeah, yeah. I can't believe I
Oh,
haven't sent you my, yeah, I can't believe I
yeah,
haven't
yeah,
sent you the playlist. I will after this, but yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I have, dude, seriously, the amount of people I've had, a lot of people had a lot of guests that were, it was their first time ever doing a podcast interview, and then I've had quite a few that I'm actually surprised actually said yes. So you never know. It's
You never
like
know.
when
Just
you
reach
start
out.
anything, yeah, reaching
Yeah.
out, and then you just never know what you'll get yourself into. Yeah. But
Yeah,
that's really cool though.
yeah,
But I am looking at Tara Strong right now, and she
yeah.
was in the Sabrina movies. Wow. Okay, that's something I never even knew until just now. Because like
I was
she's also
obsessed with
done,
her.
also did like a lot of live action stuff, but
Oh my
I
god,
didn't know
yes.
about this.
And
So
when she
yeah.
had her website, she had a voice acting section where you would buy a DVD. I think she made, I think it was a DVD or some kind of class, like some kind of like workbook type of thing for voice acting. And I begged my mom as growing up. I was like, I
Well,
want that CD.
that's kind of to say how it was for me when I first when I found out that one of my all-time favorite voice actors, Rob Paulson, was doing
Mm,
oh, I have the book over, but it's like way like on the other side of my room. I'll
mm-hmm,
probably show it. Like I probably grab it at some point, but it's the voice lessons. I'm not
yes.
sure if you've been. Yes, voice
Yeah.
lessons, and I also have the book that Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt
Oh, I
did.
have that one too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
so I have a bunch of books, but voice lessons with Rob Paulson, I have the copy. I have not listened to the audiobook. And that was kind
mm,
of the same with me because Rob has always been one of my main inspirations for
mm,
voiceover in particular.
mm-hmm.
Um, Not just that, but just acting in general.
Yeah.
Like my goodness. Um, yeah, that guy is just amazing. That just
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I could just go on and on
I
about, my
know.
favorites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Tara Strong was a large influence for you. Any other, like, I know you've probably mentioned Bailey and a couple of other folks, but who else would you say, you can also say your family, who would you
Mhm.
say was very much, like, really helped you along the way? Who would you say were an inspiration and they were a large influence in your
Mm.
life, career, just anything in general? If you want to give your shout outs right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I first want to give a shout out to Brittany Lotta, who
Yep.
has just has been so essential in being a part of my career. Um, she gave me one of my first anime roles, and then um, and then it hadn't been until like 3 to 4 years until the pandemic happened, where I didn't land any anime gigs at all, because it was kind of difficult to do that in New York at
It's
the time.
hard.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really hard, and it's very tight knit in New York.
Mm.
Smaller community,
Oh,
so it's very
yeah.
tight knit.
Yep.
Um, and so like it hadn't been until like the pandemic where she had or they had the opportunity to cast me in a brother in Akudama Drive, and that was sort of like the catalyst for everything else that happened afterwards. So, I think Brittany Lotta, Matt Shipman, those two have been just so essential to my career, and I'm forever grateful. I really am. And I love the way that they work in their company, in their production company in particular. And I wish they had more stuff to dub. They're just awesome. They're awesome peeps. I love them. Um, so yeah. Uh,
Happen. Never say
yeah.
never.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. In the future, you never know.
You never
Um,
know. Yes, exactly.
and someone I looked up to, man, I look up to a lot of people. Um, but
There's way too many names.
there's way too many names, I know. I also I'm a huge fan of Richard Horvitz. Like I love the
Yep.
way
Play pretend. Yeah. That's what I was
that
alluding
like
to
that's
earlier. Yeah.
exactly like that is his essential like thing that he's noticed for. Like just his ability to play pretend and not care about anything else, and like I'm like I want to get there. I want that. He's so amazing, and I love anything that he's a part of, you know? Um, and I want to take a class with him one day because I've heard phenomenal things about him
You
as a
should.
teacher.
You really should.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
taken a class with him before?
Yes, it
Oh,
was awesome. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, those are the people that just come into mind. So,
Yeah. Yeah. What was I also gonna say? Yeah, like Richard Horvitz is just amazing, and there's way, like I said, if I start going on a list, like talking about my favorites, like I would be here for like 20 minutes. So
same.
I
Yeah.
think I would probably wanna, out of curiosity, like what media, like have you grew up, did you mostly grow up with? Because I know you probably watched
Mm,
a lot of TV and movies and
yeah.
played games and stuff. So what are some of your favorites, like
Uh,
media?
Cartoons were probably my favorite at the
Oh
time,
yeah.
growing up. that I mean, you can include anime in that too. That was like key growing up. Um, right now, well, and then like growing up later, probably like video games would probably be like my go-to thing now. Um, and yeah, I'm trying to think of like what's something right. Have you? Oh my God, have you? Have you played Final Fantasy 16 yet?
Oh man,
Are
when
you not a
somebody
big
asks
fan?
me
It's okay
this,
if you're not.
yeah, I'm trying to like because like most of my forte is Sonic and Mario and kind of like
Oh, okay,
the
okay,
mainstream. But like I would love to start playing, like the more RPG stuff like Persona,
sure,
Kingdom Hearts, and Final
sure, sure.
Fantasy and stuff like that. Yeah, the
Yeah,
JRPGs and yeah.
I love fantasy type of anything.
Yeah,
So
fantasy.
shows,
Yeah.
video games, I don't care. Audiobooks, I don't care. Like fantasy. So Final Fantasy 16, it was like something that like I binged because I watch playthroughs of it. I don't have like a PS whatever and an Xbox Xbox whatever. I don't have that, so I binged watched like all of Final Fantasy 16. And it's fantastic. I'm not crazy about the RPG elements in that game, but the story, for the most part, it's really really good, and the
Yeah.
voice performances in that are just stellar. Like they're so
Yeah.
so good. Um, yeah, I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know if I answered your
Yeah.
question, but that's
Probably. Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of like video games, congrats to the new Persona 3 cast,
Yes.
which just got announced at AX, I
I,
believe.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I feel like they announced it a bit before. Something
I
happened.
think so, yeah.
What live event what live event happened that like
Too
Persona 3
many.
came out? I forgot.
Yeah.
There's so many.
There's a lot. There's so many,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
um
I think it was
yeah,
an
I went
Xbox. Ooh.
was it
Don't quote me on that.
Xbox?
Don't
Yeah,
quote me on that.
probably yeah, but speaking before we continue, here it is.
Oh,
Here's the
yay.
book.
Yeah.
I just need a signature and I'll be,
Your
a
life is
happy
set.
guy.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, speaking of franchises, like you've been in Genshin, you've been in Pokemon, you were Spider Girl for Marvel,
Mhm.
and Yu-Gi-Oh! Like being in all of these wonderful franchises that, a lot of us grew up with. Like, is it kind of like a dream come true to be a
Mm.
part of, all these, monumental, you know, childhood favorites that, a
Yeah.
lot of people, I mean, probably yourself included, that you grew up with, and just getting to be
Yeah.
a part of said franchises, was like,
Absolutely.
wow, just you're still pinching yourself that you even had the honor of playing
Yeah. I one
such
of the things
parts.
that
Yeah.
that I still haven't quite grasped in my head
Yeah.
is like Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, where I grew up with Darren Dunstan's voice as Pegasus, and then having that full circle moment for me of having to work with him because he's the director, for those who don't know, he's the voice director for the current Yu-Gi-Oh shows and games that come out.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's and he's such a not only a great teacher because he does teach classes, he's a phenomenal director and a beautiful human being. Um and like yeah, to know that like I get directed by him and like we're kind of we're friends and it's like I don't know, dude. Like to me that's like insane. I just can't. It's been insane. And then like to also like within Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens in particular, like a lot of the old casts from like previous seasons come into Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens as well. And so like the voice of Joey Wheeler's in there and like Erica Schroeder's in there too, who plays Mai. Um and I've like shared scenes with them and it's like what I'm doing a Yu-Gi-Oh battle with Joey Wheeler, like it's just crazy, you know what I mean? uh yeah, man, it's been insane.
For Genshin in particular, like I know that has been really picking up steam over the last few years or so.
Yes.
And I'm just like, wow, So let's talk about Genshin for a little bit.
Yeah, are you
Like
excited for
getting
Fontaine?
Fontaine. From what I've seen, it looks very interesting. I've yet to
Yes.
play Genshin though.
Right.
Yeah, but it's just amazing with how it has built such a strong, amazing community, and I'm
Oh, it's
just like,
huge. Yeah.
yeah, like getting to be a part of it. Like it's, and talking about your character and, just being a part of the fam, I guess the Genshin fam, I guess
Mhm.
is the best way to describe it. Like
Mhm.
that's how I'm gonna, dub it. Yeah, let's talk about Genshin for a bit and your overall experience of working, on the game and being a part of the community.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it I I think you're right. I think it's such a massive community and I think well, at least in my experiences, they've been wonderful to be a part of, in that community. So, to work on the game in particular, I got to work a little bit with Brooke Chambers, um, and ooh, sorry, ambulance, um, and and yeah, like it's just been great. I mean, I can't say anything other than that. Like, getting to voice an enemy character, an Eremite, I think is really, really cool. I never voiced a enemy anything before. Uh, and so to see people go crazy for the Eremites, I think is so funny to me. Apparently, there's a big community that really love them, and that's really really cool. And yeah, it's great. I can't say anything other than that. Like, it's been great. Yeah,
It's been great.
it's been
And
great.
also, I love how Akudama Drive, was it? Yeah.
Mhm, mhm,
I love how that literally was like, I think next to, I'm on Behind the Voice Actors, and I think that alongside
mhm.
Love Live they were really the shows that kind of got your name out there,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I have to thank Brittany Lotta for that because I think if it wasn't for Brother and Black Cat and that was such a special show, I felt like it was like the right show at the right time with
Totally.
the right people that got to work on it. Yeah, and I after I just I was able to have all of these opportunities, and so yeah, I hope that continues. Yeah, yeah, it's been
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
And I know there's been like a lot of stuff that's been going on, as of late,
Mhm.
in the industry and outside the industry. So,
Mhm.
not to get into the specifics, but anybody who's seen, watched the show knows about, the strike, AI, and
Yeah.
everything and stuff in between. But I would like to have I think I kind of I'm curious to have like your input on
Mm.
how it's all gonna affect the industry moving forward. Or actually, um, I think since 2020, there's been like, it's drastically different than it was before. So, how have you been adapting to the changes and where do you see everything being like, how is it gonna affect the industry moving forward?
You mean with AI in particular?
It could be AI, it could be Strike, or it could just be anything, really.
Mm. Um, I think when it comes to, because I know it's kind of not hush hush, but it's kind of like they're
Yeah,
mentioned here and there when it comes to like remote recording and like remote talent. I think with that, I like to be the optimistic one to say like I think there will be more chances for remote talent to to get on the market more in the LA and in the Texas market. I'm being the optimist here. I really, really hope so. I think if we manage to do it during remote recordings during the pandemic, I think we can most particularly do it now. And
totally.
and
Yeah,
if like I don't think we should completely push remote recordings to the side. Not that they have been, right? There's some people who have different experiences than others, and different circumstances as well. Um, but I don't think we should fully push that to the side, and I think we should work on the technology more and more, um, so that we can just make remote recording easier for everybody, right? Um, when it comes to AI in particular, oh boy. um, there's just a lot of stuff recently that have been kind of scary where like if for people who don't know, like they've taken voices from uh voice actors and like AI'd them into like a song or AI'd them to say things that are really inappropriate. Um, and I think it's going to become an issue more and more. Um, and it's I don't want to put a damper on this interview, but it is very very scary, and I think we should be very very diligent when it comes to that sort of thing, and asking people to please respect. Um, I hate saying vocal property, but I don't think that's the correct terminology. It's a weird description, but like of people's voices, and like let's be respectful, and you know there's other avenues where if you want your favorite character to be in your project, there's other avenues for it. There's other vocal talent for it, and yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's what I can say on that. We'll see
yeah,
with the strike. Maybe I'm not with the union as of yet. I'm still eligible, so I don't know as much as I should in that particular topic and what the avenues that they're trying to do with AI and what they're trying to negotiate with these companies. We'll see. I don't know,
yeah.
but yeah,
So I would like to talk more, but I guess maybe next time if we do like a part two or something, we'll just discuss
sure.
more about like, you know, other stuff. But for now, this has been a huge pleasure having you on. And any last words, or if you want to promote your stuff, like
Sure.
projects, socials, and closing thoughts, like that would be
Yeah,
terrific.
sure. My socials on throughout all of social media. So on TikTok, I don't do anything on TikTok, but I repost videos because I think they're cute and funny. Um, Twitter, Instagram. There's Threads now, and Hive. I think they're all the same screen name, whatever. At Daisy Guevara VO. I think they're all the same. And my final thoughts is thank you so much for having me, and I wish you the best of luck in your voiceover career. Hang in there. I know it's not easy, and I'm always here if you ever want to reach out because we got to stick together.
Right on. And I guess with that, that's the perfect way to close out this interview. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for more episodes. I'm Robert Jackson, tabbing out of here.
Tap,
I'll see you
tap.
all next time.
Bye.
Yeet.
Bye bye. Yeah, yeah.
Yeet.